Hi and welcome back to the ClickUp tutorial series, and I'm Sarah and I'm the founder of We Love PMO, and we're going to get straight into it. So in today's tutorial, what I'm going to be talking about and talking you through in real time is tasks, subtasks and checklists. So if you haven't already watched episode 1 and 2, I would suggest that you do, as this follows on. So as you can see here is my test project that I had in the sandbox. And before we go any further in regards to about the more information you can add on a task and the subtask and checklist, I just want to show you how to add additional columns onto your list. So if we go across to the right hand side here, we can see that we've got the assigning already. So this is where we can assign tasks to individuals. So all you need to do is to click that little person there. Obviously I've just got myself on there at the moment, but if you had a team, you'd then be able to click on that person's name and that would then assign that task to that person. We have the due date there, so you can click on the due date and click in the date that it's due. There is the ability to add recurring tasks, but I will talk about that in a future video. You then have the priority, so this is the flags here, so we can if it's whether it's a low, a normal, or high, or urgent. And then you'll see that there's this little plus button here. So this enables us to add more columns. So if you click on the plus one, so I'm just going to add a few in as examples. So say we want to have a budget. So we can type in budget there, and you can actually choose the currency that you want. So I'm in the UK, so I'm going to change that into pounds and press create. So you can see we've got the budget there, and so you just say it's £10,000 against that, so you can see it types it in. And we can then add another one in regards to money, which we can say spent, and let's just change that to pounds. Okay, so we can say our budget's 10,000, but actually we've spent 5,000 so far against this particular task. Like, we would never have a kick-off meeting that had a £10,000 budget. This is just an example. Then if we press that again, what we can then also do is add some more. So I'm just scrolling down. You can see there's you can add email, you can add phone, you can add location, you can actually add progress on there as well. There's t-shirt size. We've got a due date, but actually let's say we want an estimated date. So you can add that in as well. You have the ability, if you click on it, so you can drag it across. So let's say we want the estimated date before the due date. We can also add time in. So if you type time, you can actually have estimated time and time tracked. I like to have estimated time first. So if you do have a team and you are saying to them that you expect this task to take no longer than 1 hour, the kickoff meeting, you can then put that in there, and that records that's 1 hour. And then say you have the chair of the meeting who's going to be tracking the time of this kickoff meeting. There's two ways that the time could be tracked. So if we click in there, they can either press the play button and then that is tracking it there and then, or they can come back to it and actually manually type in the time. So let's just say that is 1 hour. Also down here you'll see there's a little toggle. So ClickUp actually has the ability to track time that is non-billable, or we can toggle it to make that time tracked as billable. So you can flex that in between, which is really helpful when it comes to doing any timesheets and doing any reports. Sometimes some people sort of say, okay, particularly if they are taking on a number of projects and subcontractors, there may be work that's internal. So if they've got a subcontractor and they're doing internal work, they can sort of turn that off and go, okay, so they know that these hours that are classed as non-billable, that is actually the work they've done for me, but actually the work that they're doing for the clients that I have for my business that I'm subcontracting them to do for, which will be billable to that client, we can use that. So it's a really, really handy feature on there. There is also a really helpful drop down as well. So we talked through in another episode in regards to how to add the phases. So you can, with the drop down, you can call that whatever you wanted. So maybe you wanted task type, and you're going to say, okay, it's a grant report, or it's a boilerplate, or whatever it is. It just gives you that ability to customize it and then also add columns to it. We will go into a lot more detail in regards to these columns, but I just wanted to talk about a few of them today. Now, getting back into the actual tasks and the subtasks and checklists. So I'm going to use the kickoff meeting as an example. So if you click into a task, it opens up this box, which enables you to put a lot more information in there. Now, we have the columns that we saw, so you could fill the columns in from that first page that I showed you, but you can also fill them in via this when you click into the task itself. So let's just start to add some of this information. So let's say, the start date of this kickoff meeting is all today. We're estimating it's going to be an hour. It will be me. This is a high priority. And this bit here is really helpful, relationships, because what you can do when you click on that, you can say whether or not this relationship links to another task. So you can choose what that other task is. You could say that actually this task is waiting on another task in order for it to take part, or it's being blocked by another task, or it's linked to a particular document, or you can actually add custom relationships. So that's a really helpful thing. We have the description here, which is really helpful to put a bit more information about it. So I'm just going to put a description in here about this kickoff meeting. So there we go. So I've got my description. And as you scroll down a bit further, here's the custom fields. So the custom fields are those additional columns that I added in, where I then tweaked what the names were. So obviously I did the money one, but I called one a budget, I called one spend, I've called one life cycle stages. So that's what those are there. And then we've got subtasks. So there's two ways to add subtasks. We can add subtasks in here as you click into the task, but we'll show you in a moment how to do it from the actual list as well. So let's add some subtasks in. So here's some of the subtasks, right? So we'll add these in. So we want that one. Let's save that. We are going to have this one, so I'm just going to put these in. And as you go, I'll keep asking you to save them. So just putting in some sort of generic tasks just to give you an idea of what this looks like, and you can follow along as I'm doing this, or stop as you're sort of building out the board. There we go. So I've got my 6 subtasks, and as I said, you can then obviously to put who is this. I'm just going to make them all me. They're all me. Yeah, thank you. Having a meeting with me, myself, and I. And then the due date or today. So then you can just go in and populate that. It might not be that they're all today, but actually it could be that this sort of stuff, finalising a meeting agenda, it might have been last week that I needed to do this. So you get the picture in regards to what you need to do there in regards to adding the dates and then the priorities. So that's really helpful. And then we've got checklists here, and checklists are really great as well. So let's create a checklist here. So these are things that perhaps we want to do during the meeting. The checklist could be an agenda, for example, which is how I would use it. So we've got the introductions and roles. So I'm just going to chuck some example things in here. And as you're adding it, all you need to do, as you click in, just click outside the box and add another line for you. Click outside. I'll just add a couple more as an example, because you want a decent sized checklist to see how it comes together. Just last one. Okay. And if it's added an additional checklist underneath which we haven't filled in yet, you see these little 3 dots, just click that and just press delete to make it nice and tidy. So that's our checklist. Now what we can do, if we know that we are going to be using this checklist all the time, you know, for different kickoff meetings across different projects, we can actually save this checklist as a template. So where we've given this title checklist, we're going to give it a name. So let's just say kickoff meeting checklist. And then you'll see these 3 little dots. We click the 3 little dots and we're going to save this as a template. And we're going to call it kickoff meeting checklist. And we want to make sure here that we put all members. We want to make sure that everybody can see that so that they can then use that template, and we press save. And that's our template saved. So we can use that in the future. Now I'm just going to cross this task off, and I was going to show you how to add a subtask from this point already. But before I do that, now you can see where it says kickoff meeting. We've got this little icon that looks like a little phone. Now that is our actual subtasks. That's what that icon means. This little icon means there's a description, and actually there is a way to chuck a checklist into the description as well that you can tick off, so it's a bit easier to get to. And then that 3rd little icon is our checklist. Okay, now I'm just going to click that so you can see underneath there's our subtasks, and we can roll that back up. And if you click into that, it reopens it back up, and then you can see the checklist there. Now I said I was going to show you how to add another subtask to this list. So this little button here, it says add subtask, and then you can type it in and it adds it in for you. And then just click out of it, and then you can obviously populate all the boxes that you've got there. And then to hide it again, you just press this little triangle. Now let's say, okay, on the handover plan, there's going to be a meeting there, and actually that checklist that we saved, I know I saved it as kickoff meeting, but I just want to show you how to do it. We want to add that checklist in that we've just saved. We know that template, so this would be if any template. If you come down here and we just click onto checklist, and it says use template. So if you press use template, this shows you all the templates that you've created in your workspace, and we've got the kickoff meeting template checklist there. So you click this, you press to use the template, and there you go. And then you can amend that if you needed to for it, say handover meeting checklist, and then you can just delete that one out, and there we go. So there you go. So that is how you add more information to a task, how you add subtasks, how you create a checklist and save a checklist as a template, and how you then use that template on another task. So I hope that's been helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, follow along, give it a like. It helps me out a lot, and I'll see you on episode 4.